got a mule deer buck here, big mule deer buck. So they're looking for drug runners?
Yeah.
I got him right there. I can kill him right there if he takes 2 more steps. How far is he?
Some places are so vast that they evoke a sense of, well, it's hard to explain. I could do the usual thing and go on and on about the beautiful yet deadly place this is, or the sense of adventure you feel when you cross the border straight into no man's land. And while all those things are true, let's cut to the chase. These dusty hills are in the middle of the Mexican desert, and this, my friends, is the middle of drug cartel country and a staging area for border crossings. And in a way, these hills, they're full of ghosts, and their signs are everywhere. From the Mexican cartels and desperate people willing to risk it all for a better life, to a tiny white-tailed deer they call the gray ghost. There is a lot hiding in these hills. So why, you ask, am I headed smack dab in the middle of all of this? Well, I'm still trying to figure that out for myself.
I made it to Tucson, Arizona. All my bags are here, my gun's here, my phone starts blowing up. My mom, my grandma, my dad, my wife, everybody telling me to be careful, because I'm going to Mexico and everybody's worried about me. Maybe they know something I don't. Maybe I'm just stupid.
You know what they say, stupid is as stupid does.
Well, Nick, how you doing back there?
Everyone knows about Mexico. They know the sounds and the smells and the tastes of this country. The drinks of tequila, margaritas, and Mexican beer. Mexico is famous for its tough people and even more famous for its vacation destinations. And more recently, it's become known as a place of uncertainty and danger. Everyone has an image of what Mexico is. Heck, for some, it only means a chihuahua they know from a commercial on TV. What most people don't know about Mexico is that it is full of hunting opportunity. And those opportunities have me back in Mexico with my good buddy Matt Woodward of Borderland Adventures. And crossing the border with Matt is like getting into a time machine and driving straight into the past.
We're officially in Mexico. We just checked our guns in with the military. It's crazy, the change. You go over the border and instantly it's third world and dirt roads. And I mean, we're talking about within 100 yards. This is historically, you know, a little bit of drug cartel country. I mean, that's safe to say, right?
Yeah, we're in the heart of it, yeah.
And we're 30 days into a government shutdown right now, and the guy for the military was just telling us that actually maybe it's made a difference. You know, all this attention down here at the border and the drug cartels have actually moved away from here for a little while, which is fine with me. I'm like kind of against the drug cartel thing. If I'm gonna be in Mexico, I'd rather the drug cartel not be here.
Somewhere else.
I'd be somewhere else, exactly. So, our first stroke of good luck, no drug cartels.
Now, since the drug cartels weren't around, we thought we'd visit a local restaurant and drink a cold one. A cold Coca-Cola, that is. And what goes well with that? You guessed it. Tacos. Real tacos. In Mexico. And once our bellies are full, we head out the door, get back on the road, and head to hunting camp. Now, if you know anything about me, you know that I'm a sucker for history. My favorite part of traveling is getting a glimpse into the past, and this small house that we're staying at offers exactly that. On 180,000 acres of ranch, this is the main house. Built at the turn of the last century, this place was literally built by hand with nothing but the stones picked up from the land that we'll be hunting on. When I see places like this, I can't help but think of the stories and the people who came before us and made so much with so little.
This place is like magical. It's like stepping back in time. What year was this built in?
1905.
Every single stone by hand in here, picked from the desert.
Yeah, all from the wash area below us.
Unbelievable. There's coues in these hills. The hills are alive with the clashing of antlers.
The borderlands. Miles of hills and brush as far as the eye can see. And in this kind of country, after traveling this far, you better make sure your rifle is spot on. Now we're talking.
Zeroed, the sun's going down. In Africa, they call it a sundowner. Here it's just cerveza. That's all I care about. Tomorrow is Coues Deer Day. Like Christmas Day, only better.
Most people have no idea what a Coues deer is. Discovered by Dr. Elliot Coues in the 1860s, the Coues deer is just like the whitetail that you've been hunting your whole life, only smaller. They live in the deserts of Mexico, Arizona, and New Mexico. The Coues deer is basically the munchkin of the whitetail world. Think I'm kidding? Check this out. This is a Boone and Crockett whitetail deer, and this is a Boone and Crockett Coues deer. Seriously, that is a Coues deer of a lifetime. Now, hunting a Coues deer is nothing like hunting their corn-fed cousins, and I can't wait to get started. In life, we are presented with a never-ending string of choices, some easy and some more difficult. A lesson my dad taught me very young has proven itself time and time again. The hard choice is usually the right one. Nothing worth anything comes without work, and that's always easier said than done. Knowing that doesn't make the choice any easier. And in my first morning in Mexico, I was faced with one of those choices.
We spotted a big Coues deer over here. It's the first morning, like the first hour of the first morning. And we've spotted a borderline booner already. I'm gonna be honest with you, it looks pretty damn big to me, man.
First morning, that's a tempting deer.
What's the old adage?
I don't like that adage.
You don't like that adage? Never leave on the first day what you would shoot on the last?
That has never made any lick of sense to me.
What's the new adage? Just do what Matt says?
That buck's safe today.
The rest of my first afternoon hunting in Mexico, we put on some serious miles on foot through some difficult terrain. This ranch is 180,000 acres, and finding a deer that is the size of a large dog in all of it is like finding a needle in a haystack. Needless to say, you do a lot of hiking and even more glassing. And aside from the buck we spotted this morning, the only thing we saw was just how big of a piece of habitat this place is.
When somebody says you have a 180,000 acre ranch, it's not hard if you say it fast, until you actually put eyes on what that means. When we're talking about not over there, we're talking about over the next mountain range. It's crazy. Unbelievable.
Every hunt has those moments that stay with you. Sometimes it happens in the quiet hours before dawn. You might have felt it the very first time you went hunting with your grandpa or your dad. A perfect moment that you try to hold on to and recreate for the rest of your life. And if we're lucky, we stumble upon something that triggers that feeling for just a moment. Sometimes in places like this, I still get that feeling from time to time. But out here in this desert, I could feel something else, something that nags at you like an itch you can't scratch. That there's more here than meets the eye, something just underneath the surface. As beautiful as this place is, it is equally as dangerous. And that afternoon, we were slapped right in the face with a stark reminder of exactly that. Drug running is a serious problem here, and one that the Mexican military takes very seriously. I consider myself the kind of guy who's comfortable in uncomfortable situations. Well, that is until a Hummer with 7 fully armed bad hombres shows up with automatic weapons. Then I'm uncomfortable. It's situations like these that you begin to appreciate Matt's 20+ years of outfitting down here. The extent of my Spanish is "más cerveza por favor," and let's just say that in this situation, a failure to communicate is not an option. There's something a little disconcerting about a Humvee full of guys that you can not speak their language that all have guns. You did a good job with that. That was crazy. So they're looking for drug runners.
Yeah.
Right?
Just on the general patrol, just covering ground, covering all this country.
Yeah. Did he ask you if he'd seen anything?
No, not at all.
He just wanted to know about our gun, and that was it?
That's we'd seen any deer.
Yeah.
So that's about it. Want to check the gun permit?
They just want to see our permit, and away they go.
Yeah. They're here for about 60 seconds, 2 minutes maybe. I don't know, here for a couple minutes and on their way.
Yeah, it made me pucker up a little bit, I'll admit. That's pretty cool. We're hunting in the province of Sonora, Mexico, and it shares the majority of its border with the U.S. state of Arizona. This area is significant because it's full of Mexicans trying to cross this border. Nowadays, you can't turn on the news without hearing the words border or wall. And often, when you hear those words, the headlines are talking about this area right here. It's an issue that has polarized our country. People are protesting everywhere for and against border wall, jobs, illegal and legal immigration that strike at the core of our country's values and both human and constitutional rights. We are hunting only 20 miles south of the border. And as we hunt on, Matt and I stumble upon something that is a stark reminder of what people are willing to go through to get across that border.
This is it's been here for a while, obviously. This one's in pretty bad shape, but this is just one of the backpacks from one of the immigrants.
It's just a cheap backpack.
Yeah,
is this common?
Yeah, very common, very common. Most of them are carrying a backpack, and most of them in this area particularly are in this camo pattern. It's kind of a generic camo pattern.
You know, when I look around here and I think about how difficult it is for us to hike through here with good insulation and good shoes and all that stuff, I picture somebody making this trip with what? Nothing but a backpack, maybe a little bit of food and some water.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
pretty brutal trip.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people, they die doing that.
They do. Unfortunately, it happens. It seems to have more deaths north of the border. Desperation kicks in once they've crossed the line.
Here, they're still residents, and they're just out on a hike, right? Yeah. But once they get over there, then they get desperate.
Things get much more desperate over there. Over the course of a career, I've ended up finding about 5 bodies over the last 20 years. Yeah. Yeah.
That gives me goosebumps. That's crazy. I'm glad this isn't me. It's now day 5 of my Coues deer hunt in the Mexican desert. And while we've seen plenty of deer from afar, we haven't been able to close the deal. And I'm beginning to wonder if maybe I should have taken the opportunity that I had on day 1. Today we're joined by Johnny, one of Matt's guides, and the 3 of us spend all day glassing. Frustration starts to set in, and then something almost providential happens. You know that burned out saying, when God closes one door, he usually opens a window? Or was it a door? Anyway, it doesn't matter. What does matter is that what happened that day was a big old opportunity presenting itself. I got a mule deer buck here, a big mule deer buck.
How big?
Hold on a second. Here, check that out. That's a good buck, isn't it?
That's a really big buck, Nick. You need to kill that buck, dude.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's a big deer. He's gonna go over the top though. He's going over. We gotta get moving, guys.
Okay.
Let's load up, guys, and get on this deer.
Let's go. Suddenly, my Coues deer hunt has turned into a mule deer hunt. Ironically, I've never shot a mule deer. I'm from Minnesota, so we position to get a shot at a buck of a lifetime. I am set up, I have a steady rest, and I'm ready to shoot. I have this buck in my sight, clear as day, but there's one small problem. He's gotta come down. I can't shoot him on the skyline like that. I don't take the shot. Damn it. Why, you ask? Well, the answer goes back to my hunter safety instructor when I was 12. Never shoot a bullet when you don't know where the bullet will go. This buck is skylined, and even though I know there's nothing but 180,000 acres on the other side of that ridge, technically, this is not an ethical shot. And I watch painfully as this giant buck walks over the hill. Matt, Johnny, and I run in the direction that the buck was headed. The bad news here is that he's disappeared over the hillside. The good news is that the reason for this is that he's following this girl, a hot doe that appears 150 yards in front of us. And heaven knows that no red-blooded male will ever get too far from a lady that's interested.
got him right there. I can kill him right there if he takes 2 more steps. How far is he? Like 200?
Shooting for 200 even. You got it right in the shoulder.
got it,
Nick.
dude.
Right in the shoulder.
Are you kidding me?
Oh man.
I cannot believe this. Literally my first mule deer of my life in Mexico. Are you kidding me? Unbelievable. I don't even know what to say. What do you say to that?
Not much to say, buddy. He's fantastic.
I mean, as far as wild Sonoran mule deer go, this is about as good as it gets, isn't it?
This is he's fantastic.
Doesn't matter. He could be 120 inches, and I am beside myself. Unbelievable. Thank you, brother. I'm the kind of guy that believes that life happens the way it's supposed to. I came here to hunt one thing and ended up with another. Some might call it luck, but I think it's more like my grandma used to say. That's just how the cookie crumbled. What's going on here?
We're making machaca, dried meat, kind of their version of what you'd see in Africa. It's biltong. It's only got salt on it. If you look real carefully, he's got some kind of coarse
It looks
salt
like he's like
granules.
kinda almost marinated it in a little bit of water and some salt.
Absolutely. Added a little bit of granular salt and going to dry it out here for a while. And this will keep very well then. And they hang them in the shade over in the barn over there.
And
they last all
Cowboys
year.
laid it.
And you can rehydrate it. You've got your protein source right here.
As you can see, the cowboys that live way out on this ranch wasted no time taking advantage of my kill, and neither did we. Myself and all the other hunters in camp sat down to share a cold cerveza, fresh mule deer, roasted green chilies, homemade tortillas, and a few laughs. And to me, that is what hunting is all about. It's about putting yourself outside of your element, culturally, physically, mentally. It's about adventure. For me, trips like this help put things back home in perspective. It reminds me that we're all stuck in this crazy journey together. It reminds me that we live in the greatest country on the face of the earth, and often we take that for granted. Everything that you take for granted now were blessings first, and when you think about the journey that these people make and how horrible it is, it makes you feel really, really lucky for what we've got. I'd like to tell you that I have life all figured out. But this trip has proven that just when you think you know what's about to happen, the truth is that our fate and what actually occurs is decided by something way bigger than us. So sit back, enjoy the ride. Or in my case, enjoy the fajitas.